Once again, relative reality, relations, vibrations, things that you are well acquainted with. It may seem that we are repetitious in some manners, with the acquaintance of certain frequency or vibrations better known to you as words, ideas, thoughts expressed, held. Those things in familiarity become habitual in an idea of time. And since you are encouched in time, it is behooving to you to pay attention to even the repetition. The reason why it becomes a new staple for you, a new way to be as a not so much algorithm. It is much like stepping stones, from moving from one side to the other, climbing a ladder, call it what you will. You understand that these futures that you are creating are based upon the experience of vibration that is always now. The experiential that is determined by your truth is your future. It is the next drawing upon you. What will land at you is an experience, in front of you rather, as an experience to behold and repeat the cycle forever. The simplicity of the now that needs never to be slowed down, but the assets of time can give you that ability to maybe observe things for a while, become familiar. Practice makes perfect is one aspect of human course, but this is not so much practice as much as it is just truth expressed. But we keep you frequent in these words, in these frequency ideas, so you can become accustomed to them. It is much like any adaptable creature to its environment. Anything that is, you will become. You will understand how to handle it. Fish out of water eventually starts to walk. These ideas are the same. So as for you understanding yourself going forward, there is really nothing to tempo anymore in any certain outcome. The future now is determined by you. You love you, you will love your future. It cannot go backwards, if you will. You even don't have the conceptual idea to return to a self that you have no vibrational match to as a reference of living a life, nor do you have that remembrance. You have your timeline remembrance that will occur a certain truth that says it's me the whole time. I've been this self on a certain timeline since I got here. But that is nor the truth, nor that is neither a truth as a probability, which it is, but it is neither a solid truth either. Let's put it that way. It can be a truth if it is chosen, but you have lived so many different lives with this body, this self. Each idea that you come into is a self that is validated in the now. Which way do you, to you, I would ask, is how do you validate yourself? How do you know who you are? Memory? Perhaps, huh? You remember your father and mother, and therefore you remember parts, not wholly, childhood, friends, and interactions. So that feeling, that vibration, that frequency rate of existence is what you are according to time. And that's where you have solided yourself. But we shall deplete that with the frequency focus as a habit, if you will, on things of the now that don't pay homage to necessarily who cares what my history is. I don't need those resources because the moment will create the timeline, the memory. The now always does that. Now creates time. Now creates the memory. Memory is not existence. Your brain scientists say it is. It's somewhere over here or over here. Well, that's where they mark it. Sure. And that is accurate. That is a truth. But it is simply created in the now. That's all it is. It doesn't store your history. because it doesn't match your vibration any longer. There's no reason to hold on to it. See, in this idea of a self-reflected, let me elaborate. Your soul memory complex, social memory complex is a less harsh word to the human ear. This reflection that stores what you call your experientials are not in details. Of course not, because there are no physicalities. They're not in the idea of detailed out remembrances, pictures. They are vibrations, as anything. So when you go back into your life, you are searching in vibration, not details. The detail matches the vibration according to the truth that you accept as, firstly and always, the vibration of truth. And then the memory is accorded. It's quite simple. But it doesn't really need to be understood in the dynamics of it. For all that comes as a remembrance as most things to you. But I would like you to take the journey of the now instead of the journey of time and what was and what shall be. And it is a habit to do it, isn't it? You don't have concerns, but you have a mind that is concerned. You don't have cares, but you have a careful mind. These things are what you attribute your existence to until you come across a vibration that allows you to see more of you as a different point of view. And therefore, you have battles within you every day that say this is no longer and this is. And the habits of old or time want you to stay with the truth of instead of is, of time instead of is now. And as you learn these things and take chances on yourself, then you are an expansive self that will span the ideas of what you call physical laws, reality rules. See, there are many entities out there that are channeled, speaking different things. But you must remember the channel in and of itself is according to the channel in and of itself. It is a relationship to reality, so all are correct and all are truths and all are speaking different vibrations of reality as interaction. Not specific rules of truths, not specific outcomes, not specific ways or ways not. Everything is just simply another now. And all that are involved in all nows are their now life. And this is how you move through your worlds. It shall not change for you. You have to have the vibration consistent, which is a law. Change. You can hold on to things as a mannerism of time, but unbeknownst to you, a lot of your fears change because you are the constant of change. So those fears that are changing are matches to the reality. So in other words, whatever is now, you can have one fear that is very scary, and then once you change your vibrational rate frequency and fall maybe a little bit more in love with you, but you still validate time, fear, realities, this particular detail field is no longer, and the only one you ever remember is you were always afraid of this. One day you're afraid of snakes, the next day you're afraid of spiders, and you cherish snakes. It's simple. But you have to have the egoic mind, safety, security, structure, reason, logic, logistics, things that are common sense, mapped out, makes me have controlled chaos. And you are recognizing these things. To let go would be reckless, obtuse, things of the nature that are called upon as out of bounds by your peers, your comfort in numbers, your authoritative aspects. It doesn't matter, truly, my friends. I don't want you to think any longer if you can. There's no reason to know anything else except what it is to be now. The classes are exploratory. Your life is exploratory. Setting yourself up between life and the classes is your vibrational match to the now, and therefore that will be your experience. When you no longer look at anything as something and let it become its own value to you with no integrated help from your egoic structure, whether it is hopeful or rejected, that approach to the now changes your nows and your reality experience, because vibration is the constant of change. Understand these things from an aspect of allowance. Don't harbor so much on particulars, because you guys get caught up and miffed about things. You're afraid for other people because you have their lives that you're seeing. You're afraid for you that that's going to be the same. Why even validate fears? What is really scary? Tell me why you are afraid. Because you were taught fear. But there is no fear. There is the simplicity of the now. We reiterate these things for the benefit of you moving through time because you are valuing time as a reality. So we remind you to cherish in the now and not worry about the fears. Because if you do that, you live your future according to the fears that you have of the now. The fears never come true. Look at you all. How can you say a fear has come true when you have lived through that fear? The fear in the living through was not a fear. You know what it was? Experience. So you understand that, and we will tell you until you are no longer algorithm that. You'll have some new people and some old timers in the class that are still valuing aspects of fear. We all have it within this society because it is belonging to a psyche. And you must, this class, and many of you viewing the class afterwards, are not as much human as you are more relating to humanity and then accessible to the psyche of the vibration and all the DNA memories of the entire species. So some of those fears are aspected into a memory reaction because you connected with it. And the only interpretation this mind had was this fear that you experienced as a vibrational match in time and brought it up to the palette of your consciousness to go, oh man, I'm scared. Things like that. But it doesn't need to be looked at as a salvation. The only thing you need to do is live. It doesn't seem worth it, though, does it? Because you're not getting what you want. If you have that approach, then you will never get what you want. You can't, because you want to always get what you don't have. And the truth of the law is it attracts your match. And if you don't have, you will not have. Period. You understand lack. You understand the chasms between more and enough. You understand your worth. You are familiar with all of these vibrations. They are becoming frequent in your reality. You are expressing more and more of yourself to become something other than what you have been as an image. You're shedding these ideas and becoming more okay with you, afraid, but still brave enough to enact it, to change your appearance, to change your algorithm of what you would used to be, and people would get upset with you, and you no longer were that, no matter how deathly afraid, and you still convinced yourself you were doing right because your egoic structure is so powerful you never recognize it until you keep journeying in the now as one thing and one thing only, your truth. Don't ever give in any longer. Don't ever sell yourself. Are you negotiable? Does your worthiness have a price on it? Can it be bought with futures of hope, ashes, dreams gone? Is that what your bargaining chip is? Is that what you have here in the now is enough for you, despite what the egoic structure mind says, always telling you you are not enough? There's so many millennials out there that are being something of magic, and everyone is dumbfounded at these millennials, like they're gods or something. They're just so awake coming in. Let me explain something. Everyone is the equal of separation. The vibration, the vibration of the world constitutes their reality. What they covet is according to the vibration of the world. I'll put it this way. The world is so much simpler now. It is easy to be awake because you're awake when you get here. You just don't remember it. And you're taught not to remember it. But more and more people are cultivated, encouraged to express themselves and not care what the system says. And as the generation die, they would seem more glorious than you. But they're not. Nobody is. You can't sell yourself short. Don't do that anymore. We want to really hone you in because you're going to get a blast of vibration shortly. You're going to get worlds that are going to scare you. Not in the idea of afraid for your life. The scariness of, oh my goodness, it's drawing closer. Each and every one of you live a little subtleties of betterment for the self-love, not the betterment of the image. It doesn't seem that you are so fascinated any longer with the things of God when God is present. And living that way brings into the things that don't make sense anymore in the world of time, the structures, the vibrational realities that the psyche validates in any particular moment as a unum. You are relating to things now from a distance, a point of awareness, that knowing that is a choice instead of the chosen, just simply because you bought into a covet, because you forgot. I want you to know that you're not anything special. You're not. You're a run-of-the-mill Joe Blow God. All you do is create forever. You're going to have to get over that you're not better than. You are exceptional, all that is. And that's unrelatable to a quantified mind of egoic structure that seeks itself in validation with a measurement. And the measurement posed must be accepted by the outside in order to be validated. Because the inside, it is impossible to measure yourself. Oh, of course you can ridicule yourself. You can judge yourself. But does it only validate it by the outside you? The ego that judges is the validation of its measurement against itself. So you must understand as an idea that measurement in and of itself is only objectified. It doesn't exist in a subjective point of view. The allowance of reality to flow through you as you express, and it is expression unto you for experience that is everlasting. These things you know. As we remind you, oh, this is excellent. As we continue to remind you certainties, they become like riding a bike. You just get on a frequency and you go, and over here you go, and over here you go. You know them. And then the diminishing aspects of an egoic mind, as Roxy stated earlier in her class, those little thoughts and all those screaming and hollerings, she can't even remember because she doesn't feed them. And you, all of you, have shed so many fears you can't remember the fears you have. When you try to remember, you will create a vibration that gives you a relationship to lack, and there will be a remembrance, and you're going, oh yeah, I'm afraid of that. And the only thing this does is to show you that you're a creator, that it's not a haphazard idea of a physical brain remembering a truth that was in the past, because it's not. It's a truth that is created now. As you continue to understand the now aspect, it has nothing to do with time. The relative time will become usable, time that is relative for a certain reality now expressed. Time will slip and move as you slip and move through vibration. But we know you need to hold on to things. You got to have a steady. This is why we tell you to love yourself, because you can't be more solid than existence. You can't be more grounded, more isness than isness itself. You can't be more I am than now. And there's nothing that you need to make yourself feel better. If you need that, then you are using an approach of lack that is a cycle of empty. The cyclic nows are constant, and you all know them, don't you? I am empty to be full. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough this. I'm not good enough. I'm not in love. I don't have. I don't have. I don't have. I don't have. I need. I need. I need. I need. I want. I want. I want. I want. And you want everything to be perfect because your ego is selling you a story and you're thinking that's the truth because that truth was accepted. And recognition of that truth is to accept that it is possibly not a preferred truth of your conscience evolution. And when you say or act upon those things as a truth, the algorithm continues. It's cyclic because you are time-based. Let me give you what that means. You validate a vibration that the ego is selling you. It comes back upon itself and the memory is created again. And the vibration is the same now that you have chosen to relate to through a command truth of time. Ego lives in time. It's not now. You can bring him in the now, but as soon as you bring him, the only way he can relate to you, he, she, it, is with time. The ego can't relate to you on the now because there's no material for the ego to use to give you what you need to sell you a story. It's a salesman that comes and sits with you on your couch, pulls out its briefcase of time, and offers up what you should negotiate your now with. And you are so deathly afraid of not choosing something that is in the palette of what is offered because the unknowable is just too damn scary, you cycle yourself. That's the only way the ego stays alive. You feed it. Your family, who cares? No one really values stranger as much as they could. Stranger is a dumping ground for secrets, much like the lake. Tell all your secrets to a stranger because they have no value with you of measurement. They're a frickin' stranger. But you can push them off so easily if they are obtuse or strange to you, something you do not prefer. You don't get bent 3 ways from Wednesday with strangers. But your family values do, because it is according to a structure of belonging, something that means something. Feel the power behind family. Blood is thicker than water. Duck Dynasty. I can't fire you because you're kin to me. Why not? If they're an asshole, get rid of them. But the value that the time-based reality expresses says different. And I'm wondering who is brave inside of you today when you see that fall upon your opportunity of now. Can you fire them from your life? Would that be a bad thing if it was your truth? See, one thing you must remember, my friends, is there absolutely is zero permanency. Permanency exists in vibration, and it matches that truth with a detail to your mind that you would find palatable, and therefore you got that memory, as it always was. It would be wrong to fire a family member or somebody of value, time investment, if they're toxic. They're gods that are being toxic. That's immeasurable. But if you are living with them for no particular reason other than the values of time, then you are feeding the hungry lion, and it is eating hearty. You can walk away from a stranger, but you can't walk away from something that is kicking your ass 3 ways from Wednesday, because you are obligated to the morals of human. And to do otherwise would be rejection. It would be absolutely outrageous judgment, and the vibration of these kinds of judgment is filled with guilt. And it is a human cyclic vibration. Truly, all you have to do is look at the Catholic guilt and Jewish guilt. Very strong family guilts taught from algorithms, from victimizations, from hard lives that are generational, that carried over through time. And each person has access to that and keeps it as themselves. Let me give you another example, and maybe you can loosen up the memory a little bit with this. Say you were born in a Protestant home, and you did some kind of committal. The Protestant algorithm does not exist in guilt. It doesn't have that much guilt around it, Methodist, Lutheran. But Catholic does. And it is an image. And you see it if you are experiential of it. It has diminished somewhat, but around the world it is still pumping its strength. So let's understand that guilt. That is an algorithm of the psyche of humanity. It's a big blurb on the radar. And one day you run across an action that your natural guilt tells you. Natural guilt is stepping on an ant on purpose. You can do it, but somewhere inside you're like, nah, I don't think I want to do that again. That kind of idea. Seth spoke of these things. This idea of taught guilt is a psyche algorithm. And you take an action and you immediately have guilt about you. But the guilt is unfamiliar. And then only way to equate that guilt, because you are the vibrational match, is to give yourself a Catholic background. And then all of a sudden you are not raised Protestant, Methodist, or Lutheran. you were raised Catholic. Because the vibration is the quality that is matched. Do you think creation sells you short? Oh, no, 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 no. Creation always gives you all that is in the moment. 100%, with not one vibrational emptiness anywhere. No vacuum in the now. Full. And it gives you the equation that you are matching. So your memory all of a sudden is, I was raised Catholic. Even went to a Catholic school. Because your action of the now needs something to match in the psyche of reality that you are truthed about. These things are happening all over the place. I think you're familiar enough with Bashar's billions of Earths, one after the other every second. And with each reality that is now, the memory is created as time as well. And they are constantly shiftable. So maybe when you get over that guilt, you don't know you were ever Catholic. You go back to the timeline, what you call a timeline, it's a memory created in the now, of Protestant. This is how your life works, but you need to hold on to a consistent image of time. You want that to be solid, don't you? You always want to know you is you, but the you that you are is an image. The you that the I am is changing, is constant, of the unknown. Holding on to those images of times are vibrational that matches, according to you, your truth, and gives you your experience. And you're dancing all over the earthbound timelines. You've had so many lives, it is immeasurable. But the more truth you are, and this is the fascinating part about this idea, your class, is that you're not shifting memories as much. You're not here as much. You're more consistently in time in the physical. Some of your, let's say, hours are filled in with a memory, but you're really never present in a vibrational physicality frequency. You're just remembering that you were. But more and more, you are here more, and you are you. Now, that's interesting to everybody because it is an occurrence that has not been noticed, because it is someone falling in love with themselves to explore their kingdom. Many have done it in this mannerisms, but not such as a awareness vibration. The subtleties of self-worth returning gives an algorithm of permanency of this self, which is the one permanency that you are. Existence. Existence is. You will always be that permanent. And that's what you're growing into. Right now, you can fathom it as an image, as a physical body, as the way you look, the way you act, the way you express. But truly, the birther of all the things aforementioned is your truth, your signature, your existence. And you are moving into that, and what that creates is a constant timeline of change. Difference going on, not so much skipping around to other selves. Some of your selves are no longer selfed. They're no longer. They don't need their ends tied off. There was a question, and we will relate it to you this way. When Roxanne walked out of Victoria's Secret with Debbie and Tommy today, they were talking about things. They had a nice lunch at Panera Bread. Debbie has invited them to lunch because she's doing a taste test. And it was a catering idea. So they had their salads, and where they were at, it was Victoria's Secret. 5 pairs of undies for $28. Great sale. Let's go get some undies. So as she walked out of that event, finding her wonderful ideas, there was a question that was offered. They were speaking about different things because Debbie is an ascender. She's a local gal, Southern, beautiful belle. Her idea was to ask Roxy about Roy. Do you still feel the presence or that behavior? And see, that's a wonderful posed question because Roy exists in memory. Roy is not lived in many idea years. There's many of yourselves that are no longer living. Let me demonstrate. I'm going to be 5 selves, and I am in the center. This is my isness in expressing the different selves of probable selves, as Seth spoke about. And I energize 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, so fast that I'm energizing all of them in the now. Not 5. In the now, they're all alive. And I know this one as I know this one. I don't remember this one, and I don't remember this one because I'm still this one and that now. See, what's happening is that you fall in love with the discovery self. Let's call it this one. And this one is just not preferenced anymore. I'm wondering if you choose to now this as a life. Or is it just gone? Because you are giving it no energy. There's no reason to give something that is no longer energy, unless you just want another image to be more awesome than you are in the now, which is impossible. You can only know yourself as the time. Awesome is unknowable. So you don't value other selves as much. So there is a depletion of your expansive self in the ideas of ego selves. Not relationships of incarnation that are just bountiful, that express out of the multidimensional selves. We're talking the billions of Earths that you create out of a psyche, because the value that you encouch in all of these selves are still algorithmed and are being fed. But since you know the value of the now and self-worth return, the others are no longer valued in themselves. You can't miss them. How did Roy die? Roy didn't die. Roy is remembered right now. Is Roy energized to be alive? Well, no. Roy is an aspect that is a vibrational expressed inside of this Roxanne. It is not a full, nor is it a portion. It's just a reality expressed as Roxanne is expressed the same mannerism. Roxanne is leaving imagery and growing into the existence as you all are. It's a little spooky for you guys because you want these selves around. Your alter egos and those images of other selves and timelines, they're all neatly kept in your soul memory complex. Have no fears of losing what you were. Discover your futures by being what you are. These selves that are becoming unimed with the whole of you are aspects of egoic structures to be expressed. because your ego is so large you can't contain it to only you. It needs other outlets, and you have expressed many of them. But as the worthiness grows, the fascination is less selves to be expressed in an egoic psyche. Maybe, let's say, you wake up in a dream and you are there in the human dream and you're going, okay, let me shoot out 1,500 selves to expand my egoic structure. And of course, this is not how it works, but this is a visual for you. And you have all of those selves in the now. And the egoic structure, vibration, not entity with self-awareness, vibration that is truth by your conscious self-awareness in each one of those memories creates that algorithm continue, the cyclic of the egoic structure that bases its existence on time. And now that you are worthy, there's no feeding. Those selves are you, your existence. When you no longer value selves that are expressed in what you call the virgin ears of ego, the untouched innocence lost, that hearing of vibration that is valued as reality, is no longer chosen because you just don't know that truth any longer. Well, those selves will die, and they are. No real reason to know why. I mean, why do you need to know why? Why doesn't give you answers. Why gives you a cycle? The now is answerable only to itself, as the palette of truths set before you, and you choose the now. You don't need to know why you choose it, do you? Time wants you to. Value of that structure. And what you're going to see is as you becoming more determined to be your self of truth in the now, as we give you these structures of algorithm to leave the ego structure in depletion to what's no longer valued in your psyche. This conscious self of remembrance. As you deplete these and start to be the more self you are, you draw in all of you to the existence of this self. And this self starts to change. Seth spoke of it this morning. The crystalline body, the relations to time, and things that might occur to be shocking or suspicious to an egoic structure. But to the self of realization, it is a little scary, but yet filled with excitement. Because you really want the magic to happen. You don't want life to be about bills and problems and solutions. You don't want to work to retire to die. You don't want to be a cog in the wheel that keeps a species going any further. They've got billions of them. Let them. You don't want that. You want this. So you have this. And as you choose this, you will change. You will draw in your worth to the center point of existence again. The isness returned. And as you understand these as a relationship to truth that you accept, then they will become fair to you. They will become palatable. And then they will become as you, as they've always been. These relationships to reality, these frequencies that they are tooled for your existence expressed. Creation is always at your beck and call. Have you ever been out of something? It seems you've always been in existence. You're always having a relationship to creation, which is matching you every now. So forget about what doesn't match, what you don't prefer. Be in the now of, I do this for me. This is my truth. And if it adds to the idea that you need to cut ties with those investment, then do that for yourself. Don't be scared and obligated because you might offend someone. If you change yourself to keep in the good guise of the church or whatever you consider your authority to be, then you're offending yourself. And I think you're worth more than that. You are. Hmm. Does your environment express yourselves? Have you decorated your environment as you? Everything is an extension of truth, or is your environment another image? Start to change you, and your environment must match it. If you're holding on to image that is environmental, well then go ahead and take a chance and change. You don't have to be so tidy. Maybe you like something different. Maybe you want to move. Let it all show you how it works by being your authentic in the now. And when you feel the passion of your environment to the new match that it seeks you to be, don't hesitate on yourself. Maybe you can have a little fingerling, a little raptor that hangs around upside down in your house, because it is simply an expression of you. Find these things that are self-evident to the passions of you, that are always calling you, no matter how ridiculous your mind says it is. Why would you ever sell yourself short of the vibration of isness that melts your heart and tears your eyes and screams, I'm not worthy of feeling this good without effort and hard work or deserving. I have not paid my dues. All of that goes away, and that constant change of isness flows in as long as you are the truth of yourself. So if someone is bothering you, let them go. If something is no longer preferenced, that's time-based. Acceptance and movement of truth, not processes, are at hand. That will bring in all of the selves that are out there, that will deplete the ego structure, that will bring existence back to awareness, yours, and you will fill your emptiness with full of your isness, and you will express as a new God remembered. It can be no other way unless you choose it to be that. And any choice that is in the now, that is not the natural, is time. And so the cycle continues. It's up to you, masters. It's up to you. This is all we have for this evening. I will bring Miss Roxanne back. We bid you all a good evening.